I want to talk about Grace Ashcroft because I am absolutely loving everything that Capcom is doing with her. Whether it's her voice acting, her body language, her past, her personality, everything that they are doing with Grace is absolutely perfect. It's amazing to see. And I think it's going to be the best part of Resident Evil 9. Her gameplay, just getting to know her and seeing what she's going to go through. And I think the reason why I am enjoying or really like everything that is being shown about her is because it really goes back to how I always felt about Resident Evil as a franchise, specifically the main characters. To me, Resident Evil has always been about going into the abyss and seeing something, the unknown, for the first time and having that fear of the unknown. It is the greatest fear of all. And not knowing what you're going to encounter, despite everything that you learn, every time you train to be the best police officer or even a member of STARS, for example, you don't know what you're going to go through. You don't know what you're going to confront. And the things you're going to confront are absolutely terrifying. You have limited ammo. It feels like the walls are closing in on you because you are trapped in this area trying to solve with these monsters just hounding at you all the time. The threat is real. The danger is real. And you're just in this closed space trying to survive. That is what Resident Evil has always been to me and why I enjoyed games like Resident Evil 1, Resident Evil 2, and all of the Resident Evil games. Because that's where the best form of Resident Evil comes from. That tension, that fear of the unknown. The fact that despite everything that you know, everything that you possibly trained for, can be absolutely destroyed by a bioweapon. And that is what makes Resident Evil as a franchise fantastic. And Grace is a perfect personification of that main character that I enjoy for a Resident Evil game. So before I go more into why Grace is that perfect personification, I want to also just go into a little depth about who Grace is and exactly how she got to this point where she gets kidnapped and forced to what looks like to go into some sort of experimentation because her blood is special. So Grace is the daughter of Alyssa Ashcroft. Alyssa Ashcroft was a character that debuted in a game called Resident Evil Outbreak. She is a journalist or a reporter who's trying to uncover the horrors that Umbrella was doing. And she managed to escape Raccoon City and continue her investigation as a journalist. And we even find out later in Resident Evil 7 that she continues to try and uncover a lot of the stuff that any company is doing with bioweapons. We see that in Resident Evil 7, she tries to find out why so many people are disappearing from Louisiana, and we find out later that is because of the Baker family, Evelyn, and the connections, a criminal syndicate that basically experimented and created Evelyn. Now we go into the future where we finally see Alyssa after, so long. And she is in a hotel room with her daughter, Grace. But then the lights go out and all of a sudden something weird is going on. Alyssa begins to act weird. She begins to grab her things, grab Grace and grab her gun, and they head down the hallway, head down the stairs to the first floor, almost as if Alyssa knows that whatever is happening probably has to do with whatever she was investigating. She even hides a book behind a painting to hide whatever evidence she has. When they reach the first floor, they meet who looks like the owner of the hotel, and just moments later, he gets killed right in front of them. Alyssa grabs her daughter, Grace, runs down the hallway, runs to rooms after room trying to escape the assailant until they arrive in some room, and then Grace's panic attack happens. Her anxiety rises. She starts breathing heavily, and her mom tries her best to calm her down, telling her to breathe slowly. They hug in a very heartwarming scene of mother and daughter. And once they are able to calm down, she and Grace both start to head for the exit. But then, boom, Alyssa gets killed by this mysterious assailant. And all of a sudden, you see Grace screaming in pain, crying in agony as she literally just watched her mom die. One of the most traumatizing experiences anyone can go through, seeing their parents, seeing their loved one die right in front of them, let alone a teenager. And all of this trauma leads to what she is like in the present day. She has a stuttering issue where sometimes she speaks, she stutters, she gets nervous, she gets anxious. She sometimes doesn't even look people directly in the eye. We see that with Leon. Like, the moment they meet, she refuses to look at him to ask him who he was. She has a stutter even during that scene. All of this trauma develops into this character that we see in the trailers and who we're going to play in Resident Evil 9 Requiem. And this is a very interesting tactic, a very interesting idea that Capcom is going with, because we never had an MC who acted this way, who was constantly nervous. We had MCs that were scared, of course, but this is different. We have a character that goes through these episodic episodes of panic, anxiety attacks. We even see this in her gameplay when she's trying to escape or run away. She's tripping or even falling down before getting back up. She even can't hold a gun properly without her arm shaking. So her aim is always going to be off just a tad bit. It's all connected to this very unique character that will be the first of its kind for Resident Evil, and it's exciting to experience a character in a new, different way. The voice actress, who I believe is Jenny Tirado, who also voiced Rose Winters in the Resident Evil Village DLC, although it's not necessarily confirmed yet, but it does sound a lot like her. If that is her, she's doing an absolutely phenomenal job as her voice actress.
You okay?
Yeah. Thanks. What do you mean? Your DSO. That's the Counter Bioterrorism Agency, right? Who are you?
The way her voice actress just brings out the stutter, the groans, the pains, like she really looked like she melded in. Just absolutely nailed the way anxious people kind of are, where they are nervous, they are stuttering a lot, and sometimes are like afraid of saying certain things or panicking and having that maybe a little whisper, or maybe sometimes even getting loud in certain occasions because they're going through a lot of emotions in their head and they're experiencing a lot, that it causes all this stuttering, it causes all of this, and she brings it out so goddamn well. And whoever this voice actress is, if it's Jenny Tirado, she is absolutely phenomenal, and they picked a perfect person to voice Grace, because she is just nailing every single thing about her and how to present people with anxiety, nervousness, and even PTSD. Absolutely fantastic job by not only her but Capcom for actually finding someone who can bring out the best out of Grace's character. And it even amplifies it even more with the body language. When I say body language, I mean the way a character reacts and the way a character's body is shown to react to certain things. For example, a great use of body language is showing fear. And in Grace's case, she's probably going to be showing fear a lot. One of the best examples, how she is holding her gun. The way she is holding her gun is not someone who has never held a gun, because as an FBI agent, she likely has to have had gun training, you know? But she's holding the gun, and you can see clearly that her hand is shaking, that she is constantly nervous. That is a great way to showcase just how much her anxiety is affecting her ability to shoot a gun when it matters, when she needs it to defend herself. And then we also see other body language, such as when she's running away from Dr. Gideon. She goes into a fetal position and you see her shaking like she's so nervous, she's so scared. That is great body language. That is a perfect use of body language to showcase a character like Grace. Because when you really think about it, all of us who would ever experience that kind of horrifying aspect, someone who feels anxious, someone who feels nervous in a setting like this, would be shaking, would be scared shitless. I don't care what anyone says that they will be brave enough and they'll be doing what Leon does. No, Leon has tons of experience doing all of that for many, many years. There's no way we would not be shaking in our boots if we are counted like a zombie or something like that. And that's what they're showing with Grace. They're showing a character that doesn't know what they're dealing with, that doesn't know the abyss, the unknown, the terror that they are experiencing. Something that you kind of get with the original Resident Evil game. Because Jill and Chris, Yes, they were star members, but they didn't know what they were going through. They were probably scared as well. They don't know what the hell they were experiencing, especially in Joe's playthrough. You kind of see it as well, that she is scared, that she doesn't know what's going on. Chris too. That's the point of a survival horror MC. And Grace is that next level. That next level of what that was. And her body language is a great proof of that. Her voice is a great proof of that. All of that mixed together is creating a MC that is, while does have some experience holding a weapon, is going through so much anxiety and nervousness that this horror, this terrifying horror, it just amplifies everything even more. It's just so good writing. It is such good way of animating Grace as a character, and it's a perfect way for developers to create characters that have personalities as well. Like everything that Grace has gone through is showcased in the way she acts and the way she performs in this situation. That is why Grace is such a fantastic character, and why what Capcom is doing to her is phenomenal, because it's just a great representation of what anyone would go through in a horrifying experience, you know? And Grace is just amplified a bit more because of her PTSD, because of anxiety and her nervousness. It's a recipe that boils into a great character that I'm going to enjoy a lot when I play her in Resident Evil 9. Just, oh my goodness gracious. The voice actress, phenomenal. Just everything. I cannot stop applauding what Capcom is doing with Grace. And while Leon's gameplay is going to be a lot of fun, because hell, even I like kicking ass as, you know, Leon and killing all these zombies, exploding their heads, the horrifying experience of what Grace is going to experience is also something I enjoy, and why I loved even a game like Resident Evil 7. Because all of that is just a perfect recipe for me as a Resident Evil fan for what I enjoy out of Resident Evil. And that's why Grace, I think, is fantastic. Just everything about her is phenomenal. I'm just going to keep saying that because it's all true. You know, I don't know what else you want me to tell you. I want you to really see just how really well made Grace is as a character. And I hope you see it when you get the game and play as her as well. And I'm sure the character development that she's going to go through is going to be really incredible as well. Because if she is scared now and anxious and nervous, I don't even want to think what her character development is going to be after experiencing everything. She is likely going to have the courage to, you know, defeat whoever is the main villain of Resident Evil. And she's going to be there to help Leon, who likely is infected by Elpis or whatever the virus is that is causing the whole thing with Dr. Gideon. She's going to have character development, and it's going to be so fantastic to see that development as the game progresses. I truly believe we're going to see a form of Grace that has that courage, that is not going to shake anymore when she's holding a gun. She's going to get the courage, you know, not necessarily heal from her anxiety and PTSD, because that is extremely hard to do in a span of a night, but it's going to help her grow, help her recover just slightly to the point when it is absolutely needed for her, possibly to save Leon. It will be fantastic. It will be the tremendous payoff that I would love to see at the end of the game as we go through the story. So that's why I really enjoy Grace. That's why I really like Grace and everything that Capcom is doing. Let me know what you think about Grace. Do you enjoy what Capcom is showing and what she is doing? Please let me know in the comments below, and I'll talk to you guys later. All right? Bye-bye.